The UFC 286 Edwards vs Usman 3 is taking place this weekend, and I am very excited for this card, man. I cannot wait for it. I will be trying my best to live stream a fight companion onto this card. I'll hopefully trying to do it on YouTube, but I just can't live stream at the moment on YouTube. But if I can by the weekend, I will definitely be streaming and doing a fight companion. If not, I'll be doing it on Twitch. As always as well, I really would appreciate if you could please subscribe. After about 2 years hustling on YouTube, YouTube is finally starting to pick me up, so I really would appreciate a subscribe. But let's get into the first pick of the night, Veronica Hardy versus Juliana Miller. I do have Miller as a pretty big favorite here. I do think she's going to get it done. I'm not that confident though. I mean, minus 435 favorite. Stay away from this fight. We've got two somewhat inexperienced fighters. Veronica Hardy's obviously got quite a bit of experience under her belt. But Miller is only 3-1 as a pro. I know she's got the amateur career. I know she's got the Ultimate Fighter as well. But she's still very inexperienced as a pro, especially at the UFC level. But I think she does get it done over Veronica Hardy on the feet. Believe it or not, I'm a little bit nervous about Killer Miller here because she is pretty sloppy. She kind of runs forward and throws bombs, and it's a bit scary. Like, she's pretty hittable, but Veronica Hardy hasn't fought for 3 years. Before that, hadn't fought for another year and a half or so. Sorry, 6 months or so. She just doesn't fight often, dude. She's fought 5 times in the last 6.5 years. I just don't know. I don't think she's as committed to the game as Juliana Miller. Juliana Miller is the more hungry, up-and-coming fighter. I like her grappling in this one here. She doesn't really go for, like, wrestling takedowns. She goes for trips and stuff like that. That's kind of how she gets her opponents down. I think she's going to do that to Veronica Hardy. I think she's going to get it done. I'm going to go with a decision, but maybe Veronica Hardy could look really bad after 3 years off, and maybe she could find a finish. But I think Veronica Hardy is going to be a tougher test than Brogan Walker, believe it or not. But I do think that Miller's going to get it done. We move up to Jai Herbert versus Ludovic Klein. I am picking Ludovic Klein. I was originally on Jai Herbert. Jai Herbert just doesn't look that good anymore, man. He looked so much better a couple of years ago. He just does not look like the same fighter. The thing about Jai Herbert is in this matchup, though, he's going to be a lot bigger than Ludovic Klein. I don't really like Ludovic Klein's move up to 155 pounds. I think it's a bit of a weird one, to be honest, but I mean, he seems to have success so far. He did beat Mason Jones by decision, and before that he was fighting at 145. Jai Herbert, you know, like, he did knock down Ilia Topuria, almost finished Ilia Topuria, but Cole Nelson had so much success against him with the leg kicks. I think Ludovic Klein's going to do the same thing. Everyone he's actually lost to has been really good, but Jai Herbert, man, he's almost 35 years old. He looked a lot better, in my opinion, a year ago. It doesn't really look like he's making rapid improvements, whereas Ludovic Klein, I can kind of trust, although I don't like the move to lightweight, I can kind of trust that he's going to fill up a bit more and then fight when he does fight at lightweight division now. So I've got Klein. I don't know if I get to finish. I think I'm going to go with him by decision. But, yeah, I just don't really trust Herbert as much as I thought I would after watching his fight. Joanne Wood versus Luana Carolina. Dude, it's a tough one, man. So many people are picking Luana Carolina in this matchup, but I do have Joanne Wood. Luana Carolina is a very good Muay Thai striker, but where she gets it done most of the time is actually in the clinch, which is interesting. But Joanne Wood, she's a decent striker herself. She can offensively grapple and wrestle if she wants to, but she does struggle a bit when fighters offensively grapple and wrestle against her. So she's not too good defensively wrestling and grappling, but it's also more so the fact that if she has to fear a takedown, her striking just becomes a lot worse, which kind of is the case with a lot of strikers in general. But I think with this one here, Joanne Wood does not have to fear the takedown whatsoever. And if she wants to, I think Joanne Wood could probably be the offensive grappler in this one here. I think she could probably at least try to take down Luana Carolina and make Luana Carolina worry about that, so she can initiate her own Muay Thai striking, her own boxing, and also her own clinch game as well if she really wanted to. Luana Carolina also really struggles to make 125. I think in her last fight against Molly McCann, did she shave off like a decent amount of her hair to make the fight? And also then she was KO'd. And I believe it was in London as well, so she hasn't got too much success in London. People are going to be cheering for Joanne Wood. I think she gets it done by decision here. Not very confident at all, but I do have her to win the fight. Jake Headley taking on Malcolm Gordon. I'm going with Jake Headley here. Once again, I'm a lot more confident in Jake Headley than a lot of other people. Malcolm Gordon's going to be dangerous, though. He's got a lot of finishes. I believe he's got 11 finishes on his career, if my memory does fill me right, whatever. I don't know what the saying is, but I've got Jake Headley by decision or submission, so I've actually got Jake Headley by submission. All of Malcolm Gordon's losses are by finish. I think Jake Headley's going to get a finish as well by submission in this matchup, maybe second or third round. Malcolm Gordon was able to out-grapple in times against Muhammad Makai, which is very interesting, but Before that, you know, he got a couple of wins. He kind of just outlasted Francisco Figueiredo. One of Dennis Bondar by injury. I think Jake Headley's the better grappler here, man. I think Jake Headley is not going to mess around on the feet too much, although there he's not too bad either. I think he's just going to try and wrestle and grapple, and that's what he's good at. He's a very good wrestler and grappler. He went the distance against Alan Nascimento, who's absolutely massive for this division, and would probably be big for bantamweight as well. So, not too much of a shame there. I don't think Jake Headley finds a submission over Malcolm Gordon. I'm going to go with him in this matchup. Christian Leroy Duncan taking on Dusko Todorovic. I do have Christian Leroy Duncan. I'm pretty confident in him. I like the odds as well. I feel like he's pretty safe to maybe be put in a parlay. I think you could definitely put Christian Leroy Duncan in a parlay. But, yeah, Dusko, man. Like, bad striking defense, somewhat suspect chin, suspect cardio. What more do you want me to say, man? Like, Christian Leroy Duncan, he's a brawler on the feet. That's kind of what he does. He's fought very good competition on the regional scene as well. Marian Dimitrov was 10-2, but Jati Milan was a very good one, who was 8-0 at the time. And before that, he has fought a couple of good guys, like Will Curry twice. I think he's going to get it done over Dusko. He's a brawler on the feet. He's not the most technical striker in the world, but he's a strong striker. He's an adept grappler as well. I think he's going to catch Dusko and knock him out, man. Dusko, bad striking defense, suspect chin, bad cardio. You can't trust this man, which is why I've got to go with Duncan by KO. And I like the odds as well. I think he's safe to parlay. We move on to Lerone Murphy versus Gabriel Santos. I believe Lerone Murphy's only like a -150 favourite thereabouts, so that's what he opened at. I understand it. Gabriel Santos is coming in on very short notice here, about a week notice, but he's a solid fighter, man. He just won the LFA tournament. Very recently, he won Marcio Barboza in the first round of the tournament, and then he beat Jose Delano. I believe it was for the belt as well. Jose Delano, a UFC level fighter for sure. He probably would have been signed to the UFC if he beat Gabriel Santos himself. But Lerone Murphy's got a very big striking advantage in this fight. I know that Gabriel Santos does have KOs on the feet. He does have a very, very exciting KO over Marcio Barboza. But he did go through a bit of trouble to get there. Same sort of thing against Jose Delano. He went through a bit of trouble to get there. I know he's beaten Alves Brenner as well, who's in the UFC. Had success against Zubaira Takagov recently as well. But, man, Lerone Murphy's the much better striker. He's the much better striker out of like almost a lot of matchups that he could have at 145. But Gabriel Santos is going to be dangerous. He's going to want to take the fight to the ground. If he gets it to the ground, he's going to be dangerous for sure. But I do think Lerone Murphy is going to keep it standing, and he's going to find his own success. I would like to see Lerone Murphy fight more often. He's only fought 3 times in the last, 2.5 years or so. I want to see him a little bit more active. If he can get a couple of wins, if he can beat Gabriel Santos and beat someone else, you could definitely see Lerone Murphy maybe fighting for a ranking at some point. But I do think Lerone Murphy gets it done on the feet. I think he's going to get a decision win. I think Santos is a pretty tough guy. No one's been able to finish him, obviously, because he's 10-0, but this guy's been put in some tough situations. He's been dropped. I've seen him knocked around all over the place. I've seen him fight through adversity against Marcio Barboza and still make it. Gabriel Santos is a tough dude. I don't think he's going to get finished, although it is on short notice. Muhammad Makayev versus Jafel Filho. I'm picking Muhammad Makayev, but man, I'm going to be honest, man. Muhammad Makayev isn't as good as I thought he was. He come in there after beating Cody Durden, and I was like, dude, this guy's going to be a champion within 2 years. Like, he absolutely destroyed Cody Durden. And then he fought Charles Johnson, and he didn't really look amazing against Charles Johnson. You know, he was very dominant in the wrestling, but on the feet, Charles Johnson was doing a lot more damage than him, was winning the striking exchanges. I know everyone just remembers how dominant Makayev was in the wrestling, but Johnson did do more damage, and on damage alone, Johnson probably could have won that fight, potentially. I know the scorecard includes grappling as well, but if grappling just didn't exist, Johnson would have won the fight, which is interesting. And then even then, Malcolm Gordon put him in a lot of problems as well, out-grappled him at times. I believe he even hurt him on the feet once or twice as well. I don't think Jafel Filho is going to do that, though. Muhammad Makayev, though, has come out and said that he's injured. He's actually injured. He was meant to have surgery on his shoulder. I believe he injured his shoulder only about 11 weeks ago. He's due for a surgery, which is a big deal, because if he tries to offensively wrestle and he doesn't have the same strength as what he's used to having, Jafel Filho is going to want to keep this fight on the feet. And on the feet, this man is dangerous. But at the end of the day, Jafel Filho didn't have the most success against Herbert Echeverria, who had a very padded record and just wasn't really that great. So I think Muhammad Makayev should be able to beat him. But man, if Muhammad Makayev loses because he doesn't have the strength due to his shoulder, because he didn't get that shoulder surgery, man, it could really be a really bad career decision. But I do think he's going to be able to beat Jafel in this one here. I don't think he's going to get a finish, though. I think the fight's going the distance. I think Jafel is going to be good enough to not get subbed. Jafel hasn't fought all that much himself. I mean, he's fought, what, 3 times in the last 4 years or so. Not the most active fighter. I think Muhammad Makai can get it done. Sam Patterson taking on ONeill Ashmore. A lot of respect to everyone picking ONeill Ashmore. I think that's actually a pretty smart pick, to be honest. But I'm still going with Sam Patterson. I don't think Sam Patterson's as bad as a striker as everyone's saying. He did have a couple of problems with Vinicius Sensei, which is a huge red flag, because Vinicius Sensei, I don't know how he got on Dana White's Contender Series, but this man had not fought for about 3 years, and he hadn't really fought anyone incredible either. But before that, man, he's beaten good guys. You know, he's beaten guys with similar styles of ONeill Ashmore, because what ONeill Ashmore is going to try and do, he's going to try and close the distance, he's going to try and crash in on Sam Patterson, he's going to look to wrestle, he's going to look to grapple, he's actually a very good pure grappler. Sam Patterson's a decent grappler himself, he can get subs off his back if he needs to, he does go for subs off his back if he's taken down. His takedown defense ain't that great, but when he's on the feet, one thing that Sam Patterson does do a lot, which is really good, that a lot of really tall, long fighters don't tend to do for some reason, is he can really maintain a good range. He can really keep the range, you know what I mean? He got a very good jab, he throws out that jab a lot, he does throw out a couple of push kicks every now and then, and he's got power. He's got power on the feet. I think he's going to knock out ONeill Ashmore. Would I be surprised if ONeill Ashmore out-wrestled and grappled him to a decision or a submission win? Absolutely not, but I do think Sam Patterson's going to get it done. I've got him to win by KO in this matchup here. Chris Duncan taking on ONeill Morales. I'm picking Chris Duncan here. Chris Duncan is a guy which is going to be very, very hard to trust. If you think that someone's able to KO Chris Duncan, don't pick Chris Duncan, don't beat Chris Duncan. He's a future fade in my eyes, big time. He's very chinny, and he doesn't have the best striking defense. So when he fights someone with power, when he fights a powerful puncher, I will be picking them. But for now, I think that Chris Duncan should be able to beat ONeill Morales. ONeill Morales ain't the biggest power puncher in the world. He's a striker for the most part. I believe he's a former featherweight as well. And he can do offensive takedowns if he wants to, but I think for the most part the fight's going to happen on the feet. More technical fighter is ONeill Morales, but Chris Duncan has got that power, man. I think he's going to be a first round KO or nothing for Chris Duncan. I think that's exactly what is going to happen. I think he's going to get the first round KO over ONeill Morales in this one here. So I'm going with him by KO in the first. We move up the card. Jack Shore taking on Mach Americani. I'm nervous about this one. I know a lot of people are parlaying Jack Shore, and a lot of people are very high on Jack Shore. Jack Shore moving up to 145 pounds is not really a move I like all that much. And the reason for that is he was out-muscled by Ricky Simon. He wasn't strong enough to defend all of Ricky Simon's takedowns. He wasn't strong enough to out-wrestle Ricky Simon. And now he's moving up in weight class. Upper weight class again, where he's going to be fighting stronger guys than Ricky Simon. Where the problem was with the Ricky Simon fight, and why I picked Ricky Simon to win that fight, was Ricky Simon was stronger than him. And now he's going to be weaker than all of these guys. He's going to be weaker than Mach Americani, offensive grappler. That's kind of all he is. With one round of gas tech, man. That's all he's got, man, is 1 round of gas. And if he doesn't get that first round sub, it ain't happening, you know what I mean? So, I'm going with Jack Shore. I think Jack Shore's the much better striker in the matchup. But Mach Americani is going to be so dangerous for 1 round, and then he's going to gas out, and then he's probably going to give up. But, yeah, I think Jack Shore gets it done. Mach Americani is going to look for takedowns early. He's going to look to grapple early. He's going to look to get submissions early. That's what he does. He's a very good grappler. Hopefully he's still got that. Yes, he does. He's got that legendary photo on Tapology. Absolutely love this photo. I think it's hilarious. But, man, it's definitely win or go home for Mach. I know he's fighting Jack Shore, but damn, if he doesn't win this one, he might be going home. But if he doesn't get that sub on the first round, man, Jack Shore's going to take over on the feet and maybe even get a finish. I don't think Jack Shore has got a finish in a very long time. It's about 2.5 years over Aaron Phillips, of all people, was the last time he got a finish. But I think maybe he can finish a completely gassed out Mach Americani in the 3rd round. But dude, if you're parlaying Jack Shore, I think you're going to be sweating it for 5 minutes. I think you will. The next one is Marvin Vittori taking on Roman Dolidze. I've got Roman Dolidze to win this one here. I think he's going to get it done inside the distance as well. I think he's going to finish Marvin Vittori which is not something that a lot of people can say they're able to do. Marvin Vittori's never been finished before in his whole career, but one thing that Marvin Vittori is he's dumb and he's delusional. He's probably going to try and grapple with Roman Dolidze, who I do believe is a world-class grappler. I think he's like a European champion in grappling. I heard someone say on their YouTube channel that he's a world champion in grappling. I'm pretty sure he's a European champion in grappling, but if he's a world champion in grappling, that does make me a little bit more confidence in him. Again, he's a decent striker. He's not as good at striking as Marvin Vittori, who doesn't have the best technical striking himself either. But Vittori will throw more volume. But Roman Dolidze, man, Roman Dolidze does have power. He's not that good at striking at all. He's really just a grappler. And I know he was unranked 4 months ago, but 3 months ago, whatever. Vittori's dumb and he's delusional. I think Vittori's going to try and wrestle and grapple with Dolidze, and he's going to get choked out doing so. I think Roman Dolidze could have his own success trying to wrestle and grapple against Vittori, and maybe even trying to land bombs on the feet. I don't rate Vittori that highly, and I never have. You know what I mean? You got to look at this guy's most recent wins. Paulo Costa, did Paulo Costa even try? Paulo Costa wanted the fight at 205 pounds. Such a weird situation. Fought Robert Whittaker and tried to strike 3 rounds with Robert Whittaker. I don't think he even shot for a takedown, and just got made a fool. And then he fought Israel Adesanya, and he thought that he won that fight. He's just a delusional idiot. And then he beat Kevin Holland by a decision by out wrestling him. But Derek Brunson did that 2 years ago. 38-year-old Derek Brunson, I'm pretty sure. I just think that we're gonna see Dolidze finish him, dude. I know Vittori's never been finished. I know he's got a hard head, but he's dumb and he's delusional. And I think that's gonna be his downfall. And I think Dolidze is gonna be able to get it done over him. Jennifer Meyer taking on Casey ONeill. If I was Casey ONeill, I would be trying to get this Tapology picture changed. It really isn't the most flattering photo of Casey ONeill. She's a lot better looking than this Tapology picture does suggest. But I do go with Casey ONeill. I'm not confident in this one whatsoever, because Jennifer Meyer is going to be a live underdog in this one here. She's going to probably be the more technical striker, and she might even throw more volume against someone like Casey ONeill. Jennifer Meyer's a decent boxer, and she's also a decent wrestler and grappler. And I'm almost talking myself into picking Jennifer Meyer. But I'm going to go with Casey ONeill. I think Casey ONeill's the more hungry up-and-coming fighter. Jennifer Meyer's had her career. She's not old. She's only 34 years old. And she just beat Marina Moroz, who's very good herself. Usman Fiorot, number 1, number 2 contender in the world right now. Caitlin Jakagian, top 3 contender in the world right now. Beat Jessica Ai, but who doesn't beat Jessica Ai at this point? Lost to Shevchenko, but had success against her in the grappling, which Alexa Grasso didn't really have until she got the submission. I mean, Valentina Shevchenko was taking down Alexa Grasso. So, interesting one here. Massive step up in competition for Casey ONeill. She had that close fight with Montefiore. She did win that fight, in my opinion, clearly. Beat Shevchenko. Everyone beat Shevchenko. Beat Lara Fritzen. Shanna Dobson. Dude, this is a huge step up in competition for Casey ONeill. She hasn't fought for a year. She's been injured. Oh, I'm always talking myself into picking Jennifer Meyer, but I'm just going to pick Casey ONeill. I think she's the hungrier up-and-coming fighter, although I would not be surprised whatsoever if Meyer gets it done. Do not bet that fight unless you're picking an over 2.5 rounds or something. Gunnar Nelson taking on Brian Barberena. I've got Gunnar Nelson by submission in the first round. I think he's going to get it done pretty easily over Brian Barberena. Brian Barberena, I'm one of those guys that's just not impressed by Brian Barberena, whatsoever. Which is weird. A lot of people love Brian Barberena, and I don't really understand. The hype. He's not that great. He arguably lost against Darian Weeks, who took that fight on short notice, and then Darian Weeks lost 2 fights after that, so it's not even a good look to have a close fight with Darian Weeks at the moment. Had a close fight with Matt Brown that you could arguably lost. He was fighting Robbie Lawler, and he didn't look that great against Robbie Lawler until he managed to get the finishing sequence either. And then he got dominated by RDA, of course he did. But now Gunnar Nelson's going to be able to take him down at will, because Brian Barberena's got no takedown defense, and his grappling's not that great either. All he is really just a volume striker. He doesn't really have power on the hands either. I know he's got KOs, but he doesn't get one-punch KOs. He gets KOs by landing volume. And I think Gunnar Nelson has got that karate sort of style on the feet. He's going to be able to keep the fight at range if he wants to. And when Brian Barberena tries to crash in and close the distance, he's just going to duck under and get a takedown. And then use, I believe once again, I think Gunnar Nelson's also a European BJJ champion, right? He's a very good grappler. He couldn't sub Takashi Sato, but But he's going to sub Bryan Barberena, dude. He's going to do the exact same thing RDA did. When RDA got him on the ground, Bryan Barberena was making a lot of mistakes. It almost looked like he didn't really know what to do. Gunnar Nelson's going to do the same thing. He's going to choke him out by rear naked choke in the first. So I've got Gunnar Nelson to finish the fight early. We move on. Justin Gaethje taking on Rafael FaZe. I got Rafael FaZe in this one here. I think he's the much more technical striker. Justin Gaethje is a wrestler that doesn't wrestle, and he kind of just strikes like a wrestler that doesn't use his wrestling. You know what I mean? Very aggressive boxing style, closing in the distance, but closing the distance just to close in the distance, not closing the distance to get takedowns or to attempt takedowns. Maybe he can go for takedowns against Rafael FaZe, but the thing is with Rafael FaZe, I'm pretty sure he defended like 14 takedowns against Rafael Santos in his last fight. So even if Gaethje tries to go for offensive takedowns, I don't even think he's going to be that successful in doing so. And what Rafael FaZe is going to do against Justin Gaethje is kick the legs and kick the body. He's going to work the legs, he's going to work the body, he's going to slow down Gaethje early. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a KO in the third round. I think he's going to work Gaethje. We've seen in the past, Gaethje does not like being kicked in the legs, and he does not like being hurt to the body either. I mean, Dustin Poirier and Eddie Alvarez both kind of exposed that sort of fact about him. He just got dropped by Olives, beaten up by Charles Oliveira on the feet, which I know he was having success, but I mean, he still got dropped by Gaethje. We've never seen Gaethje dropped in the UFC before, I don't think. Am I correct in saying that? No, I'm definitely not correct in saying that. He lost a couple of times by KO to Alvarez and Poirier, who I just referenced before. But you know what I mean. Like, we just saw him get dropped. I think Rafael FaZe's going to do the same thing. So give me FaZe by KO in the third round. Gaethje could have success offensive wrestling, but I just don't think he's got... I think that his ego won't allow him to do that. I think he's going to try and strike with FaZe and brawl with FaZe. But if he gets in a brawl with FaZe is he's too technical. Like, his fight against Brad Riddell, I think, is an incredible display of technical striking from both guys. And I know Brad Riddell went on a losing streak since then, but it's still such a great, high-level striking technical fight, which I do recommend that you watch. The next fight is Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman 3. I picked Leon Edwards in the last fight. I'm pretty confident that he's going to do it again. Like, I know he was losing the first fight, but was he really? Like he won the first round, clearly. He took Usman down, almost choked him out. If Usman wasn't grabbing on the gloves when he was going for the choke, he would have got the submission. He would have choked him out in the first round. He would have been the champion, right? And then the second round, or was it the third round? Like, Edwards, like... Edwards, like, dude, Edwards, like, got his feet stuck in the cage. I'm pretty sure more than once as well. I don't know what he was up to, dude. And he was just absorbing strikes for no reason. I'm pretty sure he even fell over a couple of times. Like, what was Edwards doing, dude? But what Edwards is gonna do in this fight, man, is he doesn't have to fight against the altitude. I'm seeing people say online, the altitude doesn't really matter. It doesn't really affect the fight that much. But it does. The whole UFC 278 card, I believe it was affected by the altitude. We saw Romanov gas in the first round. Oh my goodness, we saw was that Angelusa fight? They're both guys completely gassed in the fight completely. AJ Fletcher versus Angelusa. Leon Edwards gassed in the second round. Of course he did. It was at altitude. He wasn't prepared for it. It was a very high-paced first round. The fight's not at altitude. So what is going to happen in this fight is the first round, but for at least 3 rounds, in my opinion, right? Leon Edwards is probably going to win at least 3 rounds in this fight. I think he's going to outstrike Kamaru Usman because he's the better striker, the much more technical striker. Usman's striking is overrated, in my opinion. I know he knocked out Jorge Masvidal, but like Jorge Masvidal was scared of the takedown. He was scared of the takedown. And even then, everyone calls like Usman one of the greatest of all time at welterweight. Like, what's he done? You know what I mean? He won the title over Tyron Woodley. Then he beat Colby Covington in a fight he was arguably losing. And then he fought Jorge Masvidal, who took the fight on like 2 or 3 days notice. And then he rematched Jorge Masvidal after getting dropped by Burns. And then he rematched Covington. 4 of this guy's 5 title defenses are against the same guy. Leon Edwards has always been the guy that would dethrone Kamaru Usman. He's always has. Before I even started my channel, I was thinking that. When I started my channel, I was saying that too. Like 2 years ago, I've been saying this, right? Leon Edwards finally got his shot 6 months ago. And he's going to do it again. Usman just got KO'd 6 months ago. Again, he would have been getting into training pretty early, which isn't really that good of an idea for a 36-year-old man that just got KO'd. For a 36-year-old man that has clearly been on some sort of substances throughout his career, because he's got acne all over his body like Bilal Muhammad. He's got cardio for absolute days, despite not even being able to run because his knees are so buggered. And once again, that's another thing. Usman's knees are buggered. He's not able to wrestle for 25 minutes. I know everyone's thinking he's going to put the wrestling shoes on against Edwards. Edwards has already defended those takedowns. Edwards knows what's coming from. Edwards knows he's going to wrestle against him. Edwards will be drilling takedown defense like you've never seen it before. And another one as well is Usman is going to be worried about that head kick. He can say he's not all he wants. He can be mentally tough as all he wants. But when it comes in there, into that fight, he's going to be worried about that head kick. You know what I mean? It's like, geez, I'm trying to come up with an example, but I can't really off the top of my head. But the thing is, like, way back in the day, believe it or not, even though I'm super out of shape right now, you may believe it, you may not, I used to be into kickboxing quite a lot. My friend, I used to not be too good at defending body kicks, and I used to fear the body kicks. I hated body kicks coming at me. And my mate, who I was sparring with, he knew that, so he would slam body kicks all the time, and I was not the best at defending body kicks. I never really figured it out, unfortunately. My reaction times for defending body kicks were not that good. And in this one here, Usman's going to be fearing the head kick. And what is Edwards going to do? He's going to slam the leg kicks. He's going to throw the body kicks. He's not going to throw a head kick. And the whole time, Usman's going to be fearing the head kick. So he's going to be trying to defend the head kick. But the whole time, that body kick is going to be open for Edwards. That leg kick is probably going to be open for Edwards as well. He can fake the head kick all he wants and maybe even get a offensive takedown. You never know, dude. Usman is going to be worried about that head kick coming, and it's going to open up so many opportunities for Leon Edwards to smack the body with his legs, to smack Usman's legs with his legs, to land anything. It's going to give Leon Edwards maybe an opportunity to land a flying knee. I don't know. Like, he can fake that head kick all he wants. There's going to be openings there. Usman's going to be fearing the head kick all he wants. And I know people are going to say it's not going to matter. Usman was winning, this and that. It does matter, dude. Edwards has got so much confidence in there. He was a defeated man between the 3rd and 4th round, between the 4th and 5th round. He's got new level of confidence, man. People are going to be supporting him as well. And another thing is, Usman is going to be booed like none other. This is in London, dude. London fans are the best, but they're also the worst. They're the best because they're the worst, dude. They're going to be giving Usman absolutely no respect. They're going to be booing Usman to no avail. He's going to be walking out to people pulling up their fingers against him. He's going to be walking out to people, thumbs down in him. People might even be throwing drinks on him. I don't know. But Usman is going to be absolutely booed to nothing, and people will be cheering for Leon Edwards, and it's going to give him so much more confidence than he had fighting at Salt Lake City, in Usman's home sort of area, because he trains at elevation. Edwards has got this, man. I picked him in the last fight. I believed him in the last fight. He's going to get it done again. Let's go, Edwards. I think he's going to get it done. Definitely do not miss my fight companion, whether it's going to be on YouTube or Twitch. I'm going to be going crazy, man. Like, I went absolutely insane. The last card, I went absolutely insane UFC 284. Went absolutely insane UFC 285. My goodness, man. I love fights. I love fight companions. I love it when you guys come and chat with me. Dude, if you want to get some good reactions, you want to have a little bit more entertainment on top of the fights, please do come into my fight companions, because my goodness, dude, I let people know that I love the fights, man. Trust me, I go crazy. I absolutely love them. I don't go crazy in an MMA guru way. I don't belittle the fighters or anything like that. I just shout out a lot of support. And sometimes I do get frustrated when fighters do make bad decisions, but I don't like say anything like a good friend guru. But my goodness, dude, please do come to my fight companions. I'm so hyped for this card. It's going to be an absolutely crazy one. Let me know your picks in the comments. Let me know if I had audio issues in this fight in the comments. Let me know everything. I want to know. I want to know what you think of this card. I am so excited, and I cannot wait to watch it this weekend. It's going to be a very, very good one. I cannot wait. I'm really excited. If you didn't know by that. I'll see you in the next one.